What is going on there, everyone? Well, would you be shocked if I said that there was an extremely liberal pundit on MSNBC that said something incredibly stupid? Of course not. But let's get into this just 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 for laughs kind of. MSNBC host calls Iraqi embassy attack Trump's Benghazi. Gets brutal reality check. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Joy Reid. I would imagine a good portion should be. I mean, she's kind of one of the MSNBC's bigger figures. But man, this woman's out of her dang mind. As usual from the left, and these elitists. They've lost the plot, and we know that. But they keep continuing to feed us all the fuel we need. For calling them fake news, this, that, and the other. They just keep feeding us all the ammunition we need. But let's get into it. Reid, an immoderate critic of Donald Trump, faulted the president for tweeting about his impeachment while the violence was ongoing in Baghdad. As Trump's Benghazi unfolds in Iraq, she commented disapprovingly in a retweet of the post. But I gotta say that. Can we take a look at the president's tweet? It's pretty hilarious. It's pretty funny. That dude, he's comical. Early Tuesday morning, U.S. time, dozens of Iraqis stormed the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad. The violence was part of a now dwindling demonstrations that saw thousands of men, many of them militia fighters, march on the embassy to protest American airstrikes. Well, you can see from all the footage that's out there. I'm not going to pull it up right here, but you can see that a lot of these people are probably not even Iraqi. They're not holding up. I mean, there are some, don't get me wrong, because there was already some protesters there protesting something else. Like something about the government, protesters. But, yeah, a lot of them were flying Iranian flags and stuff like that. And a lot of people are speculating that most of these people that stormed the embassy or tried to weren't even Iraqis. They were Iranians. They're just there to sow, dissent, which they always do that. That's what Iran's known for. Other liberals and Democrats joined Reid in comparing the Iraqi unrest to the 2012 Benghazi attack. Shows where their heads are and how crazy they really are. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut blamed Trump's leadership. The attack on our embassy in Baghdad is horrifying but predictable, Murphy said on Twitter. Trump has rendered America impotent in the Middle East. No one fears us. No one listens to us. First off, you shouldn't depend on fear or a government that depends on fear to get people to listen to them. Ugh. That doesn't sound good at all coming from a government person. That's kind of terrifying. Kind of shows where they really are in their head. They just believe in and you can kind of see it playing out with just the rhetoric. But yeah, these Democrats, and I say that really loosely, these Democrats, some of them are just really authoritarian, and they don't even shy from it anymore. It's crazy. What Joy Reid got wrong about Trump's Benghazi. However, the Baghdad-Benghazi comparisons were widely condemned on Twitter by conservative commentators, as well as some on the left. One American News correspondent, Jack Posbiak, a retired Navy intelligence officer, slammed Reid in a bombastic tweet. Sick, actually sick, he said, rooting for our troops and diplomats to die because of politics. Yeah, well, that's another thing we've seen from the left during this administration is they will go to no lengths to try to just make it seem like Donald Trump's failing in some way or another. They don't care. You had Bill Maher come out and say he was hoping for a recession. Yeah, he was actually wishing a recession on the American people. That's real good. And it's just been, there's been so many instances, it's unreal. Left-wing journalist and activist Ben Falding said of Reid's tweet, "This is actually a effed up, callous way to frame the news." And for him saying, coming out, for everybody who came out against her on the left, yeah, thank you, thank you. At least it shows that some of y'all are at least seeing the nonsense, and thank you for that. Echoing some of Trump's America First rhetoric, Falding accused Reid and other members of the elite of enabling what he characterized as destructive U.S. meddling in the Middle East across multiple presidencies. And that's another thing everyone needs to take into account. Trump did not cause the Middle East situations. Trump inherited all that stuff. It's not his fault. No one's been able to get the Middle East right, because we are just so different from the Middle East. The West and the Middle East, night and day when it comes to almost everything. Just your everyday going ons is completely different. They're a different people. They I don't know. They're just different. And we can't deal with them the way we can deal with other countries. Oh yeah. Meanwhile, Posbiec and other Trump supporters pointed to significant differences between the U.S. responses in Baghdad and in Benghazi. "Do you even know what point you're making?" The Blaze Jason's Howerton asked one liberal commentator who tried to link the two events. No, I don't think they actually do know what they're talking about. They're just pretty much being bombastic themselves. Although numerous federal investigations of the Benghazi attack failed to establish high-level wrongdoing, Hillary Clinton eventually acknowledged that her State Department had failed to adequately protect U.S. facilities before and during the assault by Islamic militants. 4 Americans died, including the U.S. ambassador to Libya. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on about Benghazi that I'm not going to get into on this particular video because it warrants its own full-length video because, good Lord, that was a massive screw-up. But yeah, it's one of the reasons a lot of people don't like Hillary Clinton. By contrast, no Americans were said to be hurt in Baghdad this week. Reuters reported that 12 militants were injured as Iraqi security forces and compound guards fired tear gas and stun grenades to disperse the crowd. On Tuesday afternoon, 100 Marines touched down at the U.S. Embassy to bolster security at the State Department's request. The Pentagon later announced it was immediately deploying 750 additional troops to the region, and more in the coming days. Yeah, that's a very different response than the Benghazi one. And Senator Lindsey Graham, a hawkish Republican from South Carolina, praised Trump's handling of the situation in a series of tweets on Tuesday evening. "Very proud of Trump, acting decisively in the face of threats to our embassy in Baghdad," Graham said. "He has put the world on notice. There will be no Benghazis on his watch." Yeah, I hate the Middle East. Not the people. I just hate that we're there. This is a we have no reason to really be there anymore. The whole reason we were there was a lie. There were no weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that. It was all BS. It was all George Bush trying to please his father and trying to do what his father didn't do, which he didn't do either, because we're still just stuck and mired in the Middle East where we should not be. But I digress. Graham was a leading critic of then Secretary of State Clinton following the Benghazi attack. For her part, Reid vocally defended Clinton at the time. She frequently inveighed against the probe into the incident by House Republicans, arguing it was a meritless circus. What the left says about literally everything that's pointed at them. It's baseless, it's meritless, oh yeah. Meant solely to deny the Clinton presidency. However, Reid has since invoked Benghazi to suggest Republicans are responsible for the deaths of U.S. troops in foreign conflicts. Do you need any more evidence that Joy Reid, through her numerous instances of just ignorance about, situations when she's on a news platform. What is the? I don't get it. I don't get it. And just MSNBC all around is pretty much trash. Isn't yeah, you got Rachel Maddow, who they've pretty much said that she's not even news at all anymore. She's just kind of, I don't know, an irreverent talk show host that speaks about nothing factually and will not admit when she's completely wrong. She just doubles down. But we see that from a lot of the left wingers. It's just something that's become commonplace. But I tell you what, don't get your news from these people. I think that's my main point to this, is don't get your news from MSNBC and all this, because you're being fed nonsense all the time. Just completely all the time. There is a reason why conservative news outlets are gaining so much traction and getting better ratings and all this stuff, and they're more reliable. Sure, they'll have a partisan view on things, but at least when they're telling you the story, they're telling you the actual facts of a story and not just making up some nonsense to fit their political narrative or their Trump derangement narrative. I don't know. I'd love to hear your comments as always, and like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you all on the flip side.